if we can get past yesterday's business for the moment, did Keir Starmer talk to you about his proposed rule changes before the conference?
Normal hustle and tussle of what we do at conference. So, yeah, you know, he wanted that consultation, he wanted that discussion.
So, another Labour Party tradition, the two of you clearly didn't disagree because you put forward a separate amendment to his proposal at the NEC.
Angela Rayner's recent TV interview left viewers stunned and social media buzzing. But what really happened behind the scenes? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. In this video, we'll uncover the shocking truth about Rayner's preparation, Labour's conflicting policies, and the perfect storm that led to this political disaster. You won't believe what we've discovered. The stage was set for a high-stakes political showdown on Sky News' Trevor Phillips on Sunday. Sir Trevor Phillips, renowned for his incisive questioning, faced off against Angela Rayner, the deputy leader of the Labour Party. The atmosphere crackled with tension as viewers anticipated a clash between the veteran journalist and the rising political star. Rayner, a key figure in Labour's shadow cabinet, entered the studio with confidence. Her working-class background and outspoken nature had made her a formidable presence in British politics. But as Phillips began his line of questioning, it became clear that Rayner was in for a challenging interview. The first salvo came when Phillips probed Labour's ambitious plan to build 1.5 million new homes. He juxtaposed this with the party's projection of 2.5 million immigrants, asking pointedly where these newcomers would live.
And that's normal in conference period. We're not happy unless we're talking about a rule amendment, a reference back or a compositing meeting. That's just we had our NEC which passed and approved some proposals that are going to go to conference floor, and that's how we do things in the Labour Party. Well, I'm not going to discuss what happened at the private meeting of the NEC.
But that is the case.
But one of the things that I'm concerned of, and I always have been, and I've stood on the platform, is that we are able to diversify our candidates.
Rayner's initial response acknowledged a housing crisis, but her attempt to pivot to Labour's commitment to those on council housing lists only invited further scrutiny. As Phillips pressed on, Rayner's composure began to crack. The turning point came when she made a startling claim: "There is plenty of housing already." This statement, in direct contradiction to her earlier acknowledgement of a housing crisis, left viewers stunned. Phillips, seizing on the inconsistency, demanded clarification. Rayner's attempts to reconcile her conflicting statements only deepened the hole she found herself in. She struggled to maintain a coherent argument, her usual confidence evaporating under the heat of Phillips's relentless questioning. The studio atmosphere grew increasingly uncomfortable as it became clear that Rayner was floundering. The immediate reaction in the studio was palpable. Phillips's expression shifted from professional skepticism to barely concealed disbelief. The production team could be seen exchanging glances off camera, sensing they were witnessing a political car crash in real time. As the interview concluded, the implications of Rayner's performance began to ripple outward. Social media exploded with reactions, ranging from mockery to genuine concern about Labour's readiness to govern. Political analysts began dissecting every moment, questioning how a senior politician could have been so poorly prepared for such fundamental questions about her party's policies. The fallout from this disastrous interview threatens to extend far beyond a single Sunday morning show. It raises serious questions about Labour's policy coherence, their ability to communicate effectively with the public, and ultimately, their fitness for office. As we delve deeper into the aftermath, one thing is clear: Angela Rayner's TV appearance may have far-reaching consequences for Labour's electoral ambitions. As the dust settles on Rayner's interview debacle, a deeper issue emerges. Labour's housing and immigration policies seem to exist in parallel universes. How can a party promising 1.5 million new homes also project 2.5 million immigrants? This mathematical mismatch could be the loose thread that unravels Labour's entire election strategy. Labour's current stance on housing is ambitious, to say the least. They've committed to building 1.5 million new homes, a figure that sounds impressive on paper. But when you stack it against their projection of 2.5 million immigrants, the numbers simply don't add up. It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, and voters are starting to notice. Rayner's conflicting statements on housing availability have only muddied the waters further. In one breath, she acknowledges a housing crisis, emphasizing the need for affordable homes for local people on council housing lists. In the next, she claims there's plenty of housing already. It's this kind of doublespeak that leaves voters scratching their heads and questioning Labour's grasp on reality. The disconnect between Labour's immigration projections and housing plans is glaring. If 2.5 million immigrants are expected, where exactly does Labour plan to house them? The 1.5 million new homes they've promised barely cover 60% of that number, and that's assuming every single new home goes to an immigrant. It's a policy puzzle that seems impossible to solve without some serious revisions. Reconciling these contradictory positions is no small feat. Labour needs to explain how they'll house both incoming immigrants and current residents in need of affordable housing. It's a balancing act that requires clear communication and solid planning, both of which seem to be in short supply at the moment. These inconsistencies are chipping away at Labour's credibility. Voters expect coherent policies from a party vying for government. When they see such blatant contradictions, it raises questions about Labour's competence and readiness to lead. We've seen similar policy contradictions backfire spectacularly in the past. Remember the Liberal Democrats' tuition fee fiasco in 2010? Their promise to abolish fees, followed by a U-turn in coalition government, led to a catastrophic loss of voter trust. Labour risks treading the same perilous path if they can't get their story straight on housing and immigration. The potential consequences for Labour's election strategy are significant. They're walking a tightrope, trying to appeal to both pro-immigration voters and those concerned about housing shortages. But by trying to please everyone, they risk satisfying no one. Expert analysis suggests that such policy inconsistencies can severely impact voter trust, potentially alienating key demographics affected by the housing crisis. As Labour grapples with these challenges, one thing is clear: they need to reconcile their housing and immigration policies, and fast. The clock is ticking, and with each passing day, the credibility gap widens. Will they be able to square this circle before it's too late? Only time will tell. Angela Rayner's disastrous interview has laid bare the deep-rooted issues plaguing Labour's policy framework. The glaring contradictions between their housing and immigration plans have not only embarrassed a senior party figure, but also cast doubt on Labour's readiness to govern. As political analyst Charlie State aptly pointed out, the issue around this is trust. This is the important issue this relates to. This fiasco serves as a stark reminder of the critical importance of consistency in political messaging. The broader implications of this debacle extend far beyond Labour's immediate PR crisis. It raises serious questions about the state of political communication and accountability in our current landscape. How can voters make informed decisions when confronted with such blatant inconsistencies? And what does this say about the level of preparation and coherence we can expect from those vying to lead the country? As we look to the future, one can't help but wonder, can Labour recover from this blow to their credibility? Or will this incident mark the beginning of a larger unraveling of their election strategy? More importantly, how will this affect public trust in politicians across the board? Only time will tell, if this serves as a wake-up call for more transparent and consistent political discourse, or if it's just another chapter in the ongoing saga of political doublespeak.